Hey there, my people. This is Dayo, your Red Hat certified instructor and examiner. I've been helping professionals across West Africa master Linux for over a decade, and today I am super excited to kick off our Linux Bootcamp with you. You know that I love seeing that aha moment when people realize how much of our digital world actually runs on Linux. But before we dive in, let me tell you a quick story. Because it's not going to be a boring time here. Imagine you are in a fancy restaurant. You have two ways to get your food. You could use the menu with pictures. That's like your computer GUI, right? The graphical user interface. So you can use the menu like, a menu with pictures. Or you can talk directly to the chef, which is it's like the CLI, the command line interface. Talking directly with the chef, kind of like you understand the lingo, you understand what the chef does in the background, you understand all of the sauce that he puts together, and you're not going to be making orders via the picture alone. You know your stuff, right? So the menu with the pictures look nice, right? But the real magic happens when you can talk to the chef directly. That's what we'll be learning today. And how you talk directly to your computer using Linux is something that you've just heard, talking to the chef directly rather than using the menu with pictures. Now, let's time travel a bit. In the beginning, we had what we call the bare metal era. One physical computer running one operating system. It was like having a whole house just to make a cup of coffee, like building a whole house just to make a cup of coffee. That's not very efficient, right? And then came virtualization. Imagine taking that house and dividing it into apartments. Now you can run multiple operating systems on one physical computer. That's pretty cool, right? Okay, now let's move on. This led us to the cloud era, where instead of owning the houses, you just rent the apartment you need when you need it. Companies like AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure, they're basically the world's biggest landlords, but for computers. And at times you hear me call them hyperscalers. Well, managing all these apartments became very complicated. So, let's enter the world of Ansible. Think of it like a super efficient personal assistant who can configure thousands of computers at once. No more doing the same task over and over. And then came OpenShift and OpenStack. These are smart cities where all your applications live. OpenShift virtualization, you might have heard it before, which is the new talk of the town that is taking over every conversation in every tech environment as people are beginning to see that they can manage their virtual machines and containers from the same management portal. That's like having a building where some apartments follow the old rules, which is the virtual machines, and others follow the new rules, which is the containers. But they all work together perfectly. But hey, let's focus on what brings us here today, which is Linux. You probably heard names like Red Hat, Ubuntu, or Fedora. These are all different flavors of Linux. We call them distros, like different recipes of the same cake. But Red Hat, that's the enterprise grade, super reliable, super strong, enterprise ready version that big companies just trust. The beautiful thing about Linux is that it is open source. Imagine if Coca-Cola shared their secret recipe and said, here you go, make it better if you can. That's what open source is all about. Collaboration, innovation, and community. In this bootcamp, we're going to focus on mastering Linux, the operating system that powers most of the internet, runs most of the world's smartphones through Android, and is probably controlling your smart TV right now. Yes. Don't worry if all of this sounds overwhelming. We'll take it step by step. Remember, every expert started as a beginner, so no rush. Make we take JJ. I still remember my first Linux command and the feeling of accomplishment when it actually worked. Tomorrow, we'll start our journey together. We will handhold each other. We will learn how to talk to Linux, how to make it do what we want, how to troubleshoot when things go wrong. Because trust me, things definitely will go wrong. If things were not going wrong, many of you will not be here. And that's where the real learning happens. I always tell my students, in Linux, every error message is a learning opportunity. So we're going to deal with a lot of error messages. We're going to intentionally run commands so that you can learn from these error messages. Our time is almost up here, but I want you to remember this. Linux isn't just an operating system, it's your gateway to understanding how modern technology actually works. Whether you want to become a cloud architect, system administrator, or just understand technology better, Linux is your foundation. Let's not even talk towards the guys who are getting into security and how Linux powers 90% of the tools that they use for penetration testing and all of that. I should begin to talk about tools like Metasploit, Kali, and the rest of them. Kali is also a distribution of Linux that was built for offensive security. Remember, you got to stay curious, keep learning, and don't forget to have fun with the commands. See you tomorrow and have a wonderful night.